Can we all rise for the pledge?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Welcome to the June meeting of the Town Board. Approval of minutes, monthly meeting of May 4th, 2023. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Our exciting public hearing of the MS4 Stormwater Report on May 17th, 2023.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Committee reports. Conservation Board.
Conservation Board met on May 9th. I would say the biggest piece of business was Boscobel was presenting a plan to turn a little bit over 1.5 acre lawn into a meadow by application of herbicides, which would kill the lawn so they could plant the meadow. They had the herbicide applicant at the meeting talking about how that process would work and what precautions they would take to protect it from getting into waterways and the air. There were two community members present that raised concerns or questions about the scale of the project and if it could be done with other means besides applying herbicides. The Conservation Board asked for a representation, a spatial map of what herbicides were going to be applied where. There was another applicant at 16 Fox Hollow Lane seeking a permit to repair an existing bridge over Arden Brook. So the Conservation Board asked the plan to include engineered notes on how the project, when it's constructed, will prevent materials or debris from falling into the stream, which is their usual ask. And then there was a couple appearing to rectify a notice of violation at 131 Upland Drive with use of heavy machinery in the wetlands buffer. A member of the Conservation Board abstained because they're a neighbor, and the Conservation Board plans to visit that property to try to resolve the way forward. The next meeting of the Conservation Board will be this upcoming Tuesday night, which is June 6th, I believe. Yep.
Thank you, Jason.
Yep.
Recreation, Judy is unable to attend this month, so do you have a report?
She did, yeah.
Okay,
she
great.
emailed, and she said she did not receive one from the hub. So the report from the Rec Center is the Rec Center spent the month of May hosting all Haldane AP exams on site. Rec programs were relocated to alternative locations during that testing period. Speaking of programming, all late spring, early summer programs are currently underway and will continue through the end of June ahead of summer camp, which kicks off on Monday, June 26th. Most weeks, including sports camps, are now full, and wait lists have been shrinking as families solidify their summer vacation plans. The Learning Center preschool 2023-24 registration is going well, and only a few spots remain for the fall. The fall aftercare program is full, and just a few spots remain in before care. The Spring Youth Theater production of Peter Pan Jr. just finished 3 sold-out shows. And our Depot Theater completed a successful sold-out production of Guys and Dolls, and their spring benefit was held on Sunday, May 21st. Also on the 21st, the Rec hosted the Philipstown Garden Club for its annual spring garden sale. Spring Youth Sports launched April 22nd with a lot of positive feedback, especially spring soccer returning to Philipstown Park. Both T-ball and Little Sluggers have strong registration numbers as well. Events held over the past month include the Spring Senior Luncheon on May 17th, the Senior Trip to Resorts Casino Catskills, the final teen night of the school year on May 20th, and the preschool will hold its graduation ceremony and celebration on Friday, June 16th.
Thank you, Jason.
Which quota will be graduating? Thank God. The last of it.
So we do not have a hub report. Planning Board.
I attended the Planning Board on May 18th. Had a packed full agenda as we have been over the last several months. The first thing on the agenda was been the Bach Veterinarian Hospital, was looking to relocate from Chestnut Street up to 475 Fishkill Road. He's been in before the Planning Board for the last several months. Anyway, everything was approved, so we can start his. Now he's all set to go now, so he's good to go. Next on the agenda was Stepping Stone, which is the daycare center up on Lady Blue Devil Way. They've been in front of the Planning Board the last several months as well. Last month before this, they had a public hearing, and outcome of that public hearing was some additional things people were looking for. Out of the public hearing, that they're going to plant additional 20 trees for shading. They're also going to add a privacy fence, and they're going to move the playground a little bit further closer to the building as opposed to the back of the building. So that's going to help that. And people were very happy with those compliant. So the public hearing, everything is going to be moved forward. Next month, they should be able to get the approvals for that. We also had 2 public hearings. Hudson Highland Reserve has been in the planning board for now over 8-9 years. During that, we had 21 people speaking against this and 1 for it. The same concerns. Nothing's really changed the concerns. The concerns up there are water, traffic. It's not a lot of people don't think it's a true conservation subdivision. So we had a public hearing on that. That went on for quite some time. And the public hearing remained open for writing comments for the next 2 weeks. Garrison Golf and Shakespeare Festival also had a public hearing. There was many people speaking at this as well. Same concerns. People were a little concerned about the ridge being the tent being on the highest point of it. That's concerning to a lot of people up there. Also, water is an issue. People are concerned about noise, traffic, and so forth. And a lot of people have the concerns about a traffic light being installed on Snake Hill Road and Travis Corners Road and Route 9. The public hearing was closed as well. Last on the agenda was Polhemus, Manitou Station Road. It's considered a minor project. This is his first time in front of the planning board. He's looking to build a modest house, about 3,000 square feet. I think he said this is one of his last building lots that he has down there in that area. So the board classified as a type 2 seeker action, considered it a minor project, and they'll discuss at the next meeting if the public hearing is necessary or not. That's it. The meeting was closed at 9:40. Next meeting will be June 15th.
Thank you. Zoning.
Hello. So in zoning, they had their meeting on May 8th, and they approved the minutes for April. They did have a public hearing on May 8th for an applicant who was seeking a variance to construct a 787 square foot addition to a 1,290 square foot pre-existing non-conforming structure. The public hearing was closed and the project was approved. The new business was discussed, and the applicant is seeking a variance to install a 25 by 12 in the ground fiberglass pool. Sounds nice. The public hearing is scheduled for June. The June meeting is held for the 12th. They will also be holding a meeting for July, and then just note that the zoning board takes off for the month of August, and then we'll be back on September 11th. And then the meeting was closed, and there's no old business, so we'll see you all at the July meeting.
All right, thank you. Highway.
Okay, highway report submitted by Adam Hotellings, Highway Superintendent. Work performed for the town of Philipstown for the month of May. Crews have been out busy with all the roads which will occur in the spring, grading, clearing pipes, waterways, and clearing brush. The 1st of May brought an incredible amount of rain, created washouts, especially on East Mountain Road, South, and Jaycox Road. Both roads were cleared within a day. During these very special dry spells, we have almost 30 miles of dirt road. I got to remind everybody that they do use the water truck, but they can't hit 30 miles of road in one day. It takes several days for the truck to get there. So people be mindful of that, and they'll get there when they get these dry periods. Unfortunately, that's what happens with dirt roads. Highway Department received approximately 25 phone calls, emails regarding concerns, issues in the month of May. Spent approximately $11,000 on vehicle maintenance.
All right, thank you, Bob. Thank you, highway crew. And
One thing else I'd like to say about the highways, you drive by now, it's nice to see the trailer going, and you can actually see the building now, so it's pretty nice to see.
they still have some landscaping.
Oh, yeah, landscaping to do, but they're getting there, so they're definitely.
Adam sent me a picture of the trailer going out of the driveway. Yeah. It was a welcome sight, so yes, thank you. Cemetery Committee.
So the cemetery committee, we went out there and put the flags in. I just want to thank again Troop 1091. The Girl Scouts were out there in full force putting down the flags in both cemeteries that are located behind us here on Mountain Avenue and the one straight back. and we were able to get a few up at the Route 9D cemetery that was requested by one of the community members. So thank you very much to the Girl Scouts, and we are in the process of getting a bid to remove one of the trees that fell there. So other than that, the cemetery committee is moving forward in repairing the stones as we possibly can.
All righty. Putnam County Legislator. Welcome, Legislator.
Hi, everybody. Good to see you. I love driving in here and seeing the electric charging station. I think you're probably the only or first municipality that has initiated something like that in all of Putnam. So thank you, and thank you to the Climate Smart Committee. And happy Pride Month.
Yes.
It's very exciting. Putnam is having a Pride event in Brewster on June 24th at 1 p.m. Meet at the Old Town Hall in Brewster for speakers and events, and then a march up to Wells Park for music and food. So it's a wonderful thing that Putnam Pride does. They've become a really great organization in Putnam, and they do a lot of things and take a lot of effort to do this event. We've had some productive meetings with the county. The supervisor and I actually met with Eric Toth, who's the executive director of Cove Care. And if you don't know Cove Care, they are the resource for mental health in Putnam County. The county actually contracts with them. So it was wonderful to have their executive director here in Philipstown to talk about how we can bring maybe a satellite office here in Philipstown and have them work with the hub. Also, the county executive and I have been meeting with Philipstown community-based organizations. Today, in fact, we met with the hub, and again, the topic was talking about Cove Care and how to bring more mental health services to Putnam. So, that's the ask for the 2024 budget. That's my priority in thinking about the county $187 million budget, and also we have the opioid settlement funds that are available. So I'm hoping...
I think it'll be a wonderful combination to get the hub and Cove Care, so we can not only have resources, but we can actually have
clinical services
care provided right within the hub.
And it doesn't mean that Cove Care will be, have exclusive rights to doing mental health services in Philipstown. I'm welcoming everybody. Anybody that can provide mental health services in Philipstown, please. We can help try to find resources for you. And lastly, there is an immunization clinic. My favorite thing in Putnam, get immunized. There was one today on Geneva Road in Brewster. There's also one on Main Street in Brewster, June 27th, for migrant and seasonal farm workers. And then travel vaccines, June 29th and 23rd. So
important.
If you're in need of vaccines, please call the Putnam County Health Department and find out when their clinics are.
I saw something today that they always check the wastewater in New York City, and the level of COVID is coming back up again. And that was always the first sign that, here's another wave. So get vaccinated.
I noticed a lot of people are wearing masks, thank you. And, it is here still in Philipstown, too. So I'm always here for questions. If anybody has any questions, I'm gearing up to see what's going to happen with the county budget. We do a lot of work, or the county executive does the bulk of the work on that throughout the summer, and it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Nice to see you. Okay, agenda, that's you.
First on the agenda is Joule Community Power Community Coordinator Peggy Kurtz to announce the Eco Action Award for Philipstown.
So how do you want me to do that? I have some comments to make.
Sure.
And then, I don't know if you want to come down at some point. So, thank you very much for the opportunity to be here again. It is truly, you're going to hear a little bit of repetition from last week. It's truly my pleasure to present Philipstown with an Eco Action Award. This comes from the Community Choice Administrators of New York. CCA-NY is dedicated to helping municipalities across the state to achieve their climate and climate justice objectives in support of New York's Climate Leadership and Community Protection Act. The award recognizes communities and organizations that are actively accelerating the clean energy transition through CCA and through other climate actions. As some of you heard me say last week, New York State's recently finalized Climate Action Plan in the CLCPA passed in 2019 mandates an unprecedented transition to renewable energy. The electric grid must be powered 70% by renewable energy by 2030. So that's 6.5 years away from now. And 100% carbon-free by 2040. The state cannot meet these ambitious climate goals, which will ultimately help to protect our own communities and our own families without local leadership. This program helps communities take a major step in the direction of meeting those goals. Participation in a community choice aggregation program with renewable energy is recognized by state climate programs as one of the most powerful climate actions that a municipality can take. CCA programs with renewable energy enable communities to go from participation with renewable energy from about 1 to 5% of households in a community to about 80%. So that's a really significant jump, while at the same time providing consumers with very strong consumer protection. You and other communities like you participating in CCAs are on track to make up around 40% of the competitive renewable energy market in New York State this year. 40%. It's very, very significant participation. You are part of a larger movement that is truly making a difference, helping New York State meet critical climate goals. At the same time, we all know, those of us who are in this field, it's not easy being green. These awards are a way to recognize the genuine political leadership that is needed to establish a program like this. Philipstown was a founding member of the Hudson Valley Community Power Program, the first clean energy community choice aggregation program in the Hudson Valley. Altogether, in the previous round, the program enabled, through all the municipalities, enabled more than 23,000 households in the Hudson Valley to switch to renewable energy, while also supporting the development of the renewable energy market in New York State. In the previous round of the program, over the course of 1 year alone, 2,167 Philipstown participants were able to save $941,380. That's just in the previous round, in the course of 1 year, while avoiding 3,440 metric tons of carbon dioxide equivalent emissions. I think that's a pretty remarkable record. The truth is that for many years, Philipstown has been among environmental leaders in the Hudson Valley. CCA is only one part of your environmental accomplishments and your vision for your community. I want to list some of the other town climate and sustainability actions. It really is a remarkable record. Philipstown has an active Climate Smart Communities Task Force and has hired a Climate Smart Communities Coordinator. It has become a designated clean energy community and a bronze certified Climate Smart community. Philipstown has completed a greenhouse gas emissions inventory for both government operations and for the community at large. The town adopted the New York Stretch Code last year. The town has committed to developing a climate action plan for municipal operations, has adopted a fleet efficiency policy for government fleet, has installed EV charging stations and installed solar panels on the rec center, adopted a complete streets policy, provides free energy coaching service, and has established a climate fund to help residents pay for green HVAC upgrades, has established a pilot food scrap composting program, promotes carbon footprint reduction pledges for residents, has an extensive program of public education on climate issues and sustainability, also has established an active sustainable gardening group within the task force that supports sustainable gardening practices in the community at large, and has planted an educational pollinator garden at Town Hall. I'm glad that we're able to take a few minutes here today to honor this work and your vision. And I want to present you with this award. I don't know if you want to come down here.
I would just like to say, long before the CCA was thought of, or even Climate Smart, that the town of Philipstown was purchasing green power for all of its buildings.
Okay.
It's like, man, I mean, how many years? As long as I've been on the board, which is 14
Okay.
years, so it's been going on for a long time. I think we have to mention Roberto Muller and the original Climate Smart community, Climate Smart group that started us. Then Roberto was incredible, passed it to Crystal Ford, and now we're on to Martha, who just hasn't missed a beat, and we continue to keep pressing on. When are we going to be silver? we're going to try. We're going to try. All right, I'll grab the plaque.
Oh, can somebody take a picture? Okay. Okay, so congratulations.
Thank you so
It's my great pleasure to present this award.
Thank you. It's to all of us. To you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right above your desk.
All right.
Did Cold Spring get anything? Cold Spring anything like this?
Next on the agenda is Climate Smart Coordinator Martha Upton to discuss the goals of the collaboration with Sustainable Putnam regarding a solar mapping project in Philipstown.
Right on cue. Here we are.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for letting me join you tonight. I actually have a few projects and opportunities I want to update you on related to local solar power. Tara let me know that Sustainable Westchester recently reached out to the town about a new cost-cutting opportunity that they're offering to towns in the central Hudson zone. I had a conversation with Carmen Santos, who is leading the Community Solar for Municipal Buildings program. And I think it's important for the town to consider this opportunity. How does the program work? Just as many Philipstown residents have subscribed to NextAmp Community Solar, through this project, the town could subscribe individual municipal buildings to the Marbletown Community Solar Project, which currently has availability. Each eligible building would be assigned a share of the electricity produced by the solar farm and would be given solar credits based on the electricity produced by that share. The credits would appear on the town's electric bills and would result in up to 10% savings for each participating building. For example, if the monthly electric usage costs $100, the town would be billed $90. This program is partly funded by the state, so the savings are guaranteed. I know the board has spent some time discussing the differences between CCAs and community solar, but you may still be wondering, if we're already supporting clean energy through the CCA, why should the town get involved with community solar on top of that? CCAs and community solar were designed as complementary programs that both support New York State clean energy, but they just do it in slightly different ways. The CCA provides participants with the electricity that powers their homes or buildings. Community solar provides participants with solar credits that appear on their electricity bills and allow you to save up to 10% of the cost. So community solar is a cost-saving program, but it's more than that. In order to meet our climate goals, we need small renewable energy projects everywhere. The more small-scale renewables we have in our area, the cleaner our air will be and the cleaner our local grid will be. The Marbletown Solar Farm currently has excess capacity, which is why they've extended this offer to municipal buildings. I know Peggy, and I know she has a lot of experience both with CCAs and with community solar programs, and I just want to ask her if she wants to add anything.
There's really no downside to it. Martha and I were talking before. You're supporting the development of new renewable projects, and you're also getting a small discount on the electric bill.
Right. It makes perfect
You're
sense.
not paying for the community solar. You're paying
Right.
for your energy, but you're not paying to participate in the program. There really is no downside to it.
And these, we have solar on the rec building, which is covered. We plan on adding solar to the highway garage, which was designed, even the roof panels were designed for solar panels. So, but this building and the building department would be tough to put solar panels, but we could certainly look into
Right.
getting on. I mean, it makes perfect sense. It's basically the more demand, the more projects will be built. which is a simple explanation to it.
And CCA and community solar, there's no conflict between the two,
Right.
and they don't duplicate each other.
Right.
They complement each other.
Correct.
They both support renewable energy in different ways. The one thing I would say is if you do have solar panels on the roof, you can't also participate in community solar for that building.
Right, but the rest of them.
Because it's kind of like you're collecting a state subsidy twice. You can't cover that.
Well, we have 9 buildings, the town of Philipstown.
Yeah, so what we would have to do is decide which buildings we want to have apply for this program.
Yep.
And I'll be in touch with this representative about it and figure out how to
This
move
one
forward.
for sure. This one in the building department
Yeah,
we would start
yeah.
with, and then we go
Okay,
work with the other ones.
perfect.
Yep.
Thank you.
Anybody?
No, it's a no-brainer.
I mean, it makes perfect sense.
All right, and Tara, thank you for letting me know about that. All right, next I want to make you aware of the task force collaboration with Sustainable Putnam on solar site mapping for Philipstown. Sustainable Putnam is a local nonprofit based in Mahopac Falls and led by Joe Montori, who some of you may know. As the letter I shared with the board explains, Sustainable Putnam recently reached out to the Climate Smart Task Force and offered to survey the town of Philipstown for potential solar project sites. The goal of this analysis is to allow Philipstown to plan or even zone for smart solar development that respects Philipstown's natural and community assets. The initial focus would be on sites owned or controlled by the town, but the mapping could eventually extend to other properties in the future. Paul Marini, who's a solar engineer and a volunteer with Sustainable Putnam, is leading this solar site mapping project, and he's working closely with Joe Montori and with Councilman Angel, who has been trained in the same mapping system, and with me. The mapping tool he uses identifies features such as wetlands, forests, slopes, and transmission lines, each of which is important to determining a parcel's appropriateness as a solar site. The mapping service would be free of charge, and all findings will be shared with the town board. Councilman Angel has, as I said, he's also been trained in this tool, and he's been in conversations with Mr. Marini and provided him with a list of town-owned properties as a starting place. So, Jason, did you want to add anything?
No, it seems like it's, again, a no-brainer just to get information from a local nonprofit.
The price is right.
And the price is right.
Yeah, and they're planning to map all of Putnam County. They chose us as a starting place because, they know we're amenable to this sort of thing. And
I just have a quick question. It says here to be EV chargers to be installed at Mayor's Park. Where exactly in Mayor's Park? Like along where?
Talking about, okay, we're not. That's on the next. That's on the next
Well,
agenda item.
You're just in it.
I'm just in it. I'm just all in it. Yeah. Sorry about that. All right. I have one more solar thing that I wanted to share. It's just a little quick update. So I wanted to follow up on the question of a potential installation on Lanegate landfill. We are currently waiting for the EPA report to come back from the analysts who visited the site in March. Councilman Angel, Councilman Flaherty, and I were there and met with them. The report they produce will help us determine whether or not a solar installation is feasible there. I plan to reach out to them next week because they said they would be getting back to us in June, and I'll find out when we can expect the report. It was clear from our conversations with them that the site is a little less than ideal because there's a bit of a slope and the orientation isn't that great, but they were still pretty encouraging and thought it was definitely worth exploring.
We also have to be concerned of the cap. There is a cap on there
Yes.
that can't be penetrated. So.
It can't, but they have ways of getting around that.
Right, there's one, yeah.
Weights, right.
So if it turns out the site has merit, the town board would enter into a process of learning about the different options that exist for solar development on the site and the types of agreements that towns like ours have entered into, because there are a lot of different options right now. The type of project would take a few years to complete once the process begins, but it could potentially bring in both some local clean energy and some revenue to the town for years to come. So I'm excited that we're pursuing it. Bob, Jason, anything you want to add?
Gents?
No, I just said that we were hoping to hear from them soon, so if you can follow up and see where they're at, that would be fantastic.
All right,
I
thank
guess I
you.
would just add that, we had Peggy here in that workshop explaining how the CCA is helping us purchase renewable energy that are credits. I mean, the fact is all these things that we're talking about would be Philipstown producing its own solar and then selling it potentially to town residents as a community solar program. So that's moving into a part where we're becoming more locally, producers of renewable energy for our own residents. So it's,
Exactly.
yeah.
It would be amazing if we could move in that direction, so fingers crossed.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So the solar mapping project is to identify places in Philipstown where we could have a community solar facility?
So, or could put in some sort of solar installation.
The landfill is just
The
one good
landfill is
spot.
one good example of a potential spot. Yeah, but there are other potential spots too.
Sure.
It just shows how much the technology has changed, because we, again, spoke about this 10 years ago and it being the ideal spot for solar. And now, it was impossible then. And I think now the technology has changed and wow, how great would that be?
Yeah.
Where's Marbletown? Did you say Marbletown?
I did. I looked at it on the map. It seems to be about 55 miles north of us.
But it got built and it has not, its residents and built businesses haven't.
They have excess, right, they have excess capacity, and they enlisted Sustainable Westchester to help them extend this opportunity, particularly to municipal buildings. Okay, now I want to talk about the EV charger project.
Let's go.
Let's keep moving on.
Yeah. Okay. So I want to update you on the overall finances for the Philipstown EV charger project, and specifically for the costs and allocations associated with the Mayor's Park project. You may remember that in December, we learned that we'd received a $10,000 grant from NYSERDA to install 4 EV chargers in Philipstown. The 4 chargers have been purchased and are currently being held at the Town Highway Department. These are all pay-per-use chargers. 2 will be installed at Mayor's Park in Cold Spring. And Megan, to answer your question, they're going to be located sort of in the middle of that line of parking spaces. So not immediately in front of either of the gates.
If you go down there,
But-
you'll see there's one pole with 4 lights on it that Pop Warner put in like 20 years ago, and there's already a power supply there, so that's where they're used.
All right.
You just said 2, right?
Just 2 are going there, yep. The 4 chargers, yeah, blah, blah. These, let's see, where'd I leave off? The other 2 will replace the no-cost chargers that are currently at Town Hall, which will be moved to a new location, so we will eventually end up with 6 chargers in Philipstown, which will be awesome. In addition to the NYSERDA grant, the town and the village have each received a Central Hudson Make Ready grant covering 90% of trenching and electrical work. In the case of Philipstown, the Make Ready work was done when we installed the original chargers at Town Hall. We were not able to collect the grant money from Central Hudson at that time due to a miscommunication about the type of charger they required. So as soon as the town switches out the chargers and installs the new network chargers, we will be able to collect close to $9,000 in grant money from Central Hudson. The village has also qualified for a Central Hudson Make Ready grant, which will cover 90% of the trenching and electrical work at Mayor's Park. The other 10% of those Make Ready costs will be covered by the NYSERDA grant. So,
Off
since
the hook completely? Because we were owing,
completely.
I think it was like
And the
$130.
reason,
I don't know how you did this, man.
let me tell you why. It was just something very surprising that happened. Since last fall, when we applied for the NYSERDA grant, the cost of the juice chargers we're using dropped significantly. So we have 4 chargers, each of them dropped like at least $300 in price. And so that ended up giving us some more money to cover the extra charges of the installation at Mayor's Park. So at this point, The grant money will cover the cost of the entire installation at Mayor's Park, including the bollards, signs, and painting. So according to our site agreement, all the remaining costs are to be split evenly between the town and the village. And the remaining costs include the ongoing charges for the network software and the cellular data plan, which comes to $270 each for the town and the village annually.
I think we can cover that.
Yeah, I think so.
And then we're going to be off of the ones out here. It's not going to be the honor box. You're going to have to actually put a credit card or something in there.
You are.
So nobody's going to be getting a free ride any longer.
That's right.
I don't think the honor box is working all that
How is
honorable.
that working? No good anymore? Originally it was,
I think the first month there was like $80 in there.
And
I
after
don't
that?
think we've broken 30 since.
Uh-oh.
And there's always cars parked there.
I
And I
know.
saw Kelly go out and get money. I think she
And
took a
it's funny
dollar
'cause the
bill out
sign
of it.
says like there's a 4-hour limit, and I'll tell you, some people leave it there right
Oh,
overnight.
they leave
It's
that
there
there
when
for
we leave at
well
4
long.
o'clock, and it's
And
there
they
when
even
we
go on
get to work
social
in the
media and
morning.
brag about it, from what I understand.
All right, well, the other remaining cost is the Central Hudson electric bill, and it is a Cold Spring account, and the charges, which are currently unknown, will also be split evenly between the town and the village. The final piece of the equation is the revenues. All revenues produced at the Mayor's Park chargers will be split evenly between the town and the village. As for the town hall installation, the town will pay all the ongoing costs and receive all the revenues for those chargers. So just a word about revenues. Typically, it takes a couple of years for the public to catch on and start using new chargers regularly. As soon as the chargers are installed, we'll make sure their locations are up on the popular EV apps such as ChargePoint and PlugShare, so potential users can find them. Our chargers are likely to be used by local residents, by visitors to the town and village, and by travelers on their way to other destinations who need to add a few miles onto their charge. In terms of the nitty-gritty of how the town and the village will share the costs and the revenues, those details will have to be worked out with the help of the town comptroller and the village treasurer. The chargers and their accounts are owned by the town, and as I mentioned, the Central Hudson Electric account is owned by the village. So that is where we stand.
We need to select two more, or no location for these two.
We do,
Right.
and we also need to figure out funding for, or some way of paying for the make-ready work.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right, we'll be expecting a presentation from you about that at some point soon, I'm sure.
All right, questions, comments about anything here?
Thank you, more than anything.
well,
But
if we put these other two someplace else, they're gonna be it's the money on the honor system again still, right?
it will be.
So,
Yeah.
we don't, it doesn't make sense to put it in a popular area because we're gonna get screwed.
Unless there was a camera there that happened to be picking up, like at the rec center where there's cameras in the yard that could.
Well, one thing that we were thinking about earlier is the town is going to need to start transitioning its fleet onto electric vehicles.
Right.
And maybe this could be part of an incentive for the departments that are moving quickly on that to have their own chargers there.
Oh, that's an interesting thought.
Well,
Yeah, I don't see the truck technology for the highway
No.
yet, but certainly for the building department, for their vehicle, could certainly be an electric vehicle. And even one of the smaller vehicles at the rec department.
Yeah.
So we could look into something when it's ready to be replaced. But I know one of the trucks over here is getting to the end of its life, so maybe we should look into that for the
do you
next.
have Carl's old vehicle over there too?
Yeah. That could,
But couldn't we just, if we were to do that, couldn't we just hook up our own connection to our electrical outlet box over there?
yeah, if, depending on the type of car it was, but we can figure that
We
out.
got time to figure that out.
We have
but
time
yeah.
to think about it.
All right, well,
Anyway.
thank you so much, Mark.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Next is a resolution approving the change order CBSCO 4 for CB Strain for a time extension on the completion date in relation to the new highway garage, and this is a no-cost change order.
So change orders that are no cost are the best kind, so unless there's a refund involved. But this is just an extension of the completion date, which is no charge. So can I get a motion to approve the no-cost CB Strain change order, please?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye.
Next is a resolution adopting the fee schedule for permits for the disposal of electronic waste at the Philipstown Recycling Center to take effect immediately.
Bob, would you like to go over the fees?
I don't really know what they are off the top of my head. They were, but, huh? Oh, okay, here we go.
Yes, you do.
Okay, here's,
Right there.
I came up with this fee schedule. This is what I did some research on this, and this is what Royal Carding was using at the time. So we have a computer and a big TV. You don't see those big TVs around anymore, but anyway, $25 for a flat screen TV, TV, computer monitor, desktop computer, $15, small scale server computer, $10, fax machine scanner, $5, DVD player, DVR, video gaming box, $5, any type of electrical appliance, say like an iron, a vacuum, anything like that. They'll take, this company we have will take anything with an extension, with a cable on it, okay? Anything, as long as it has electrical on it, they'll take it. So that would be it. Microwave, toaster, vacuum, so forth like that, and a keyboard, a mouse, a cell phone, $1. The rec center was open from 9 to 3 every day on Saturday, but this is going to be a voucher program. You need to come down here to the town hall, determine what you want, pay for the voucher here through Tara. She'll write it up exactly what you're taking. She'll take the money. You go take your item up to the recycling center on Saturday, and hand that voucher over to Ryan, our attendant up there, and he'll take your e-waste. So that's what the ski. I just want to let also too, we started this e-waste program I think back in February of this year, and we got an awful lot of e-waste. So I just want to let you know that with the company we hired to take it, just completely picked it all up the other day. So right now we have no e-waste whatsoever on our hands. So this is going to be a new start with this. But we couldn't afford to do it for free anymore. No one does anything for free much anymore. So anyway, I thought the 6-month pilot program went very well, and hopefully the amount of e-waste we're going to get from here forward would be much reduced than we just had over the last 6
It
months.
seemed like, we had an extended period of time where we weren't
Right.
accepting it. I think people accumulated the stuff,
Right,
and
because they
then,
had no place to put it, right?
and then it
or,
got-
or on the side of the road someplace.
which
So-
unfortunately was happening.
So these are the fees, so if anyone wants to move forward, I would greatly appreciate it.
That's a question, Tara. Is that something that when the new website's up could be automated, that people could just pay directly online, or no? Does that not work for those sorts of?
I can ask them.
That'd be great.
about
That's a good
it. I
idea.
mean,
That'd
right
be-
now it's not included in the new website, but I'm sure it's something that they can set up. That we
Make
can-
life
Visa,
easier.
credit
Yeah.
card, then it could be sent a
Yeah.
voucher, they could print it out and bring it up there.
Just somebody's got to
Yep.
determine what fee or what piece of equipment you're getting rid of. And what.
Right, well, that's the thing, they gotta be honest on the thing, right?
Tara's
Right.
going to go out and check every car and see what's in.
Sarah, that's your job description.
Well, I mean, it'll be printed right on the permit
voucher.
exactly what you're bringing to the recycling center. So if you pay $1 for a keyboard and you show up with a big screen TV, Ryan might question that.
Last time I checked.
Yeah, yeah.
Alrighty, so can I get a resolution adopting the fee schedule for permits for the disposal of electronic waste at the Philipstown Recycling Center to take effective immediately?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye.
Next on the agenda is to schedule any workshops or meetings. Right now, all we have scheduled is our regular monthly meeting, which is scheduled for July 6th.
We also, I'm sorry, we need to have a budget workshop the night before. That would be the regular meeting is the 5th, it would be the July 5th, yes. No, I'm sorry. It's next Wednesday, not in July, next Wednesday. Well, we're scheduled to meet anyway, but we're going to,
June 7th?
June 7th, yes.
Okay.
We're going to meet with the,
So you want a workshop for June 7th?
the
at 7:30.
comptroller is coming in and the accountant to go over a few items.
Next Wednesday is the 7th
Yeah.
workshop.
7:30.
July 6th meeting, I may not be able to attend. I'm not asking anybody to move it, but just I may not be able to attend.
So that's it. Does anybody else have any requests for a workshop for June or July?
Is that 7:30 next week?
Yep.
Yep.
7:30. Sorry, July is the July 6th. We're good.
All right.
Okay. Next on the agenda is the Code Enforcement Monthly Report, and this is for May. Total fees collected was $34,082.97. There were 36 total permits issued, 4 additions, alterations, or repairs to residential buildings, 31 all other permits. There were 33 certificates of occupancy issued, 1 stop work order issued, 1 permit issued for the use of pyrotechnic devices, and 6 inspections of public assembly. And Greg would just like to remind everyone to take time to post your 911 address numbers.
Thank you, Greg. Building Department.
Next is any other business that the town board may have.
Anything anybody want to add?
I have one thing.
Go ahead.
This is really just to give a heads up that hopefully at the July Philipstown board meeting, we'll, as you remember, the town used ARPA funding to do that community needs assessment, mostly around food insecurity, but also mental health and senior needs. And so there's the hopes that there'll be a report back on the results of that community-wide assessment at the July meeting with recommendations on potentially how to address some of those needs that came up. Yep.
Thank you. Anybody else?
There's 2 blood drives coming up in Philipstown over the next month. I think on the 14th, there's one at the North Highlands Firehouse, and on the 30th, there's one at the Methodist Church for Bobby O'Connor. So if people could give blood, try to get there.
That's it, Meg?
Nope, nothing.
Good. What else we got here? Call on the audience. Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to know if there is a flow chart about the governing here in the town. In other words, we have boards, we have committees, we have all these different things that you report on. Is there some kind of a way that a citizen can find out what is the relationship of those subgroups to the total board? Which ones are appointed? Are they elected? Do they make decisions that they make? Do they make recommendations that you make? How does a citizen, is there a chart that will help a citizen understand the relationship of all these subgroups to this group?
Are you referring to like the planning board, the conservation board, the zoning board?
Yeah, if you open up the website for, Philipstown governance, there's on the left-hand side, there's 20 different things listed there.
What I would suggest is if you would like to come in and sit with myself and the town clerk, we could explain the whole process to you.
Oh, that would be great for me, but I worked for many years at Bellevue Hospital, which is a very complicated organization, and we had a flow chart where patients or staff or whoever, public, could see who reported to whom and, what were the structures within the organization. And I feel like we could have something like that, in Philipstown that would help the citizens understand what happens here and how it happens.
Yes.
I can just help out a little bit. All of that you're asking about is all dictated in the code, and if you look at the town code, there's a description for each of those boards and how they're appointed and who appoints them, and also the council people get a monthly or maybe it's a quarterly list of who's actually on those boards, how long their term is, when their term's up, and when they can be reappointed. And the only people that are elected are the town board. Everybody else is.
So just read the code. You're just telling me, read the code.
You can, or
Right.
okay.
You could come in with me and we'll sit down and we'll lay that all out for you.
Thank you. I was going to ask this: Have you done a flow chart before, which is just like it would be a visual representation? I mean, do you think if you sat down with John and Tara, would you be willing to spearhead trying to put that into some sort of a?
Sure.
Because that would be a real service.
Sure.
Really?
Government's not like a single business entity or like Bellevue Hospital or anything. The zoning board doesn't report to anybody. It's an independent board. The planning board doesn't report to anybody. It's an independent board. Now, for the town board and subcommittees and groups that it may form, that could work. You could, but it's really just a list of them. So, I mean, if you look at the reorganization resolutions that you adopt at the beginning of the year, it lists all the boards, but I don't know that you're going to be able to come with, you're going to wind up with different flows, you know? I mean, you could do it.
So
but
in other words, you said at the beginning of the year, there's a resolution, and would you repeat what you just said?
At the beginning of the year,
Yeah.
the first meeting in January, the town board holds what's called a reorganization meeting. At the reorganization meeting is a list of all the boards with the people on them and what their terms are. Some
Okay.
people are reappointed, other people, it's just noted that their term is continuing on. And if you got a hold of that order, you could see, I think, pretty much all the committees and boards.
And all their salaries as well.
So if you
And,
look at the
yeah,
minutes.
some
if you look
don't
at the
get
minutes-
salaries, but I hear what
If
you're
you
saying.
look at the minutes of the January meeting, that's all delineated.
The reorganizational meeting, not the regular January meeting. We have-
Okay.
right,
Let
we
me
have a
take look at that.
reorganizational meeting.
Thank you.
Which,
I just don't know that a pictorial would work out, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I do also, I get a lot of people asking, how does town board work? What does the planning board do? Who has the authority over decisions? Yeah, I guess it may be a ugly visual, but I can see the value of it.
Yeah.
So people can have a map.
anything else from the audience? Seal.
Jason, do you want to check the date for conservation? I have it on as the 13th, not the 6th.
Oh, thank you. You are probably right, Cecilia. So, it is, you are right. It is Tuesday the 13th. Thank you very much for the correction. So the next Conservation Board meeting will be on Tuesday, June 13th at 7:30 at Town Hall. Thank you very much.
And we're good? Good. As far as vacancies, I
We
think
have one on the rec commission now.
we do. Did we get a resignation? I haven't seen.
Did Judy send it after the last meeting? I believe she did. I believe she sent it, because she mentioned it at the last meeting. I can resend it to you.
Okay, so we'll have to do.
The
So
rec
we are going to
commission.
advertise for.
Somebody on the rec commission.
Oh, yes.
There's a
Yes, there was-
vacancy on the
yes,
rec.
there is.
Yes. Yep.
All right. Approval of vouchers, general,
So moved.
second.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Highway,
So moved.
second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Continental Village Park District,
So moved.
second.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I vote aye. Continental Village Water District,
So moved.
second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I vote aye. Motion to adjourn,
So moved.
second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Thank you, folks.